Hey guys, welcome. Today's topic is 15 top-rated tourist attractions in Egypt. Tourist attractions in Egypt. Egypt is a country that brings to mind the exotic. Beautiful pyramids, mysterious mummies and lots of gold. That is what everybody perceives Egypt as. But it is so much more. There is Cairo, its most famous city, the River Nile, desert adventures, its temples and mosques, and the general aura of history rooted in the culture that pervades the entire country. 1. Cairo. This lively capital city is a destination on its own, and most group trips to Egypt start here. Here, you can visit two wonders of the ancient world that have drawn visitors for millennia, the iconic Great Pyramids and the enigmatic Sphinx. Stroll through modern localities and ancient, narrow lanes, learn Egyptian history at museums and bargain with locals at the famous Khan al-Khalili market. This capital boasts a rich variety of attractions indeed. 2. Pyramids of Giza. Pyramids of Giza. The last surviving of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the Pyramids of Giza are one of the world's most recognizable landmarks. Built as tombs for the mighty pharaohs and guarded by the enigmatic Sphinx, Giza's pyramid complex has awed travelers down through the ages and had archaeologists, and a fair few conspiracy theorists, scratching their heads over how they were built for centuries. Today, these megalithic memorials to dead kings are still as wondrous a sight as they ever were. An undeniable highlight of any Egypt trip, Giza's pyramids should not be missed. 3. Valley of Kings. Luxor. Valley of Kings. Located on the east bank of River Nile, Luxor was the site of the ancient city of Thebes and is one of the most popular Egypt tourist spots. Hailed as the world's largest open-air museum, Luxor is best known for the Valley of Kings that houses rock-cut tombs of ancient pharaohs. Famous ancient kings such as Tutankhamun and Amenhotep were buried here. Although there are about 63 tombs that have been excavated, only a small number is open to tourists. Tutankhamun's tomb, called the KV62, has a separate entry charge. One of the most haunting places to see in Egypt for sure. 4. Hurghada. Hurghada was once a fairly small and unimposing fishing village, located next to the Red Sea and boasting a number of sandy beaches. Today, the resort town of Hurghada is almost unrecognizable from its past life and has grown to become one of the most visited tourist destinations in Egypt, with more than 100 different hotels, many of which line the shoreline. Hurghada is especially popular for its diving opportunities. 5. Mosque of Ibn Tulun. Mosque of Ibn Tulun. Built between 876 and 879 AD, the Mosque of Ibn Tulun is one of the oldest mosques in Cairo. It was commissioned by Ahmed ibn Ln, the Abbasid governor of Egypt. The mosque is constructed around a courtyard, with one covered hall on each of the 4 sides. The minaret, which features a helical outer staircase similar to that of the famous minaret in Samarra, was probably built several centuries later. Parts of the James Bond film The Spy Who Loved Me were filmed at the Mosque of Ibn Tulun. 6. Western Sahara Desert. Western Sahara Desert. The Western Desert is home to many popular Egypt tourist attractions, most of which are located in or near to the various oases. The best way to view these attractions is by booking an oasis package tour or a Sahara Desert adventure tour. Most good oasis tours will include a visit to all the different oases, and you will often be taken to see the best sites found at each of them. In addition to the oases and their historical monuments, the Western Desert is also home to several natural Egypt attractions, including the White Desert, the Black Desert, and the Valley of the Whales, to name just a few. 7. Valley of the Kings. Valley of the Kings. There are 2 reasons we know so much of ancient Egypt: the dry and preserving Egyptian climate and the elaborate burial practices of the pharaohs. You probably have heard of Tutankhamun and Ramses II, but they certainly weren't the only pharaohs from the so-called New Kingdom. They all have something in common though: they were buried in the Valley of Kings on the west bank of Luxor. To see all those reliefs and murals from 4,500 years ago is truly a sight like no others. While all tombs were looted to some degree and some even were never finished, you really shouldn't miss climbing into the deep shafts and right into history. Certainly one of the best places to visit in Egypt. 8. Ancient Memphis. Ancient Memphis. The Memphis Sphinx, unlike the Sphinx at the Giza Plateau, still has her, or his, symbolic beard. It's thought it could be a likeness of Queen Hatshepsut. Ancient Memphis is a taxi ride south of Giza and near the older pyramids mentioned below. There's not a whole lot to see there, but the Memphis Sphinx and giant Ramses statues are great to see. Don't make a special trip, but visit if you go to Saqqara. 9. Abu Simbel. Abu Simbel, perhaps my favorite historical site on this list. Abu Simbel is located in a remote part of Egypt, near the Sudan border. Many travelers are intimidated by this location, deeming it unsafe to visit. However, Egypt really is dedicated to protecting visitors, and I felt completely comfortable visiting there. At Abu Simbel there are 2 temples, one for Ramses II and one for Queen Nefertiti, both of which are included in your entrance fee. The facade of this first temple features 4 massive statues of the pharaoh, but the inside might be even more impressive. You will be greeted with one of the most complicated hieroglyphic drawings in all of Egypt, with over 100,000 characters in a single scene. 10. Aswan. Aswan. Egypt's most tranquil town is Aswan, set upon the winding curves of the Nile. Backed by orange-hued dunes, this is the perfect place to stop and unwind for a few days and soak up the chilled-out atmosphere. Take the river ferry across to Elephantine Island and stroll the colorful streets of the Nubian villages. Ride a camel to the desert monastery of Saint Simeon on the east bank. Or just drink endless cups of tea on one of the riverboat restaurants, while watching the lateen-sailed feluccas drift past. 11. Citadel of Saladin. Citadel of Saladin, one of the many places in ancient Egypt to be declared UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The citadel was built by the famous Ayyubid ruler Saladin to protect the Cairo and Fustat, the first Egyptian capital under the Caliphate, against crusaders. The huge fortification is lined by several watchtowers and houses several stunning mosques and the Well of Joseph inside. The Al-Nasir, Suleiman Pasha, and the Al-Ghahara Palace Museum are 3 places that are a must for Egypt sightseeing tours in Cairo. 12. Dahab. Dahab is located some 85 kilometers, 53 miles, north of Sharm el-Sheikh on the Gulf of Aqaba, near the southern tip of Sinai. Once an isolated coastal village, Dahab turned into a hippie hangout in the 1980s and became something of an alternative resort, mixing cheap accommodation with a laid-back lifestyle. The combination of Red Sea and Sinai Desert make Dahab perfect for world-class windsurfing, scuba diving, rock climbing and desert trekking with the Bedouin. 13. Siwa Oasis. Siwa Oasis. Probably one of the most remote places to visit in Egypt is the Siwa Oasis. It's considerably hard to reach and not exactly on the most common tourists' routes, but so worth it. My guide in Luxor called it his favorite place in Egypt, as it's still more or less the real deal. 14. The Red Pyramid. The Red Pyramid. Arriving at the Red Pyramid at Dahshur, that of Sneferu, in Ibrahim's taxi. The boys loved going inside this one for a Tomb Raider moment. The Red Pyramid is the largest pyramid at Dahshur, south of Giza, and was built for Pharaoh Sneferu. He also built the Broken or Bent Pyramid, which is nearby. Visitors can enter the Red Pyramid. There are some great wall decorations to see inside, but it's quite a climb. 15. Karnak Temple. Karnak Temple. Karnak Temple is the largest of all the ruins discovered in Egypt and the second largest ancient religious site in the world, only smaller than Cambodia's Angkor Wat. This temple took approximately 2,000 years to fully construct, and with each new pharaoh came new design elements, making for a fascinating walk through the minds of Egypt's most elite royalty. You'll spot a style mishmash of gates, colonnades, and even an obelisk as you wander the several kilometers around the site. Unlike many other temples in Egypt, Karnak Temple sits in its original location on the banks of the Nile, in Luxor. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share and comment. It inspires us.